This episode of the Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by audiobooks. This website allows customers to choose from over 125,000 of the best sellers and hottest titles of all genres. Audiobooks can be downloaded directly to one of the free iPhone, iPad, or Android apps, or streamed instantly from almost any internet-enabled device to listen to. Whether you're driving, doing chores, or going for walks, audiobooks is there for you anytime, anywhere. Not sure if audiobooks are your thing? No worries. Audiobooks.com offers a 30-day free trial. That means you can explore thousands of titles at no cost to you. If you find that audiobooks aren't quite your style, you can cancel anytime, no strings attached. With such a low-risk opportunity, why not give it a go? Sign up for a free 30-day trial today using the link in our episode description to let audiobooks.com know that we sent you. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corkin Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Frankie Corcoran, coming at you with our first episode of November. Unreal. It's unreal to say that. Before we start the show today, first off, I'm just going to give, of course, a plug for Humbug, as I've been doing this last little while, which, of course, opens very, very soon. It's coming up very, very quick. Actually, next week. It's crazy. We open next Friday night, and we're so stoked for it. We're all working very, very hard, and we hope you all, just come show some support for local talent. The cast is doing an amazing job, and we can't wait to show you what we've been cooking up these last few months. So you can get those, of course, on Eventbrite or by texting or calling 1-506-624-3315. Another event that's going on at the Kin Center, which is on November 10th. This is on Sunday. Let Peace Begin With Me, which is a Remembrance Day dinner at the Beaverbrook Kin Center that's hosted by Susan Butler and John Bosma. I'm excited to also be taking part in this event. It is honoring our local peacekeepers. Supper will be at 5 p.m., followed by music and drama. Tickets are $40 and are by reservation only, so be sure to call Susan at 506-622-1780, or you can also email Susan at susanbutler@xplornet.com, and Xplornet is with an X, so Xplornet. I had to spell that because I don't think many people have heard of that one before. So yeah, there's a little plug for that, and very, very excited to be taking part in that. And be sure, guys, to show some support and come on out for a great evening. So anyways, moving on to the show today. Yeah, we're doing lots of plugs today because my guest today is going to be promoting his upcoming show at the St. James and St. John United Church Hall and also at the Miramichi Folklore Park. This is within the Dreary Round. This is, of course, Character Matters Miramichi's upcoming production that is this Saturday and Sunday. It was written by Wade Hallihan, and it tells the story of the 1927 search for Leslie Allen, who was a department store manager from Moncton, who got lost in a hunting excursion outside of Blackville, which would later be recorded in verse by Michael Whalen. And so tickets are $25, and the show opens this Saturday at the St. James and St. John United Church Hall, and that will be at 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, November 10th at 2 p.m. at the Folklore Park will be within the Dreary Round at the Folklore Park. Yeah. So feel free to come to that, and then also be sure to come on out to Susan Butler and John Bosma's Remembrance Day dinner. So my guest today, of course, is Wade Hallihan. We had a great talk just about writing, just about a lot of the stuff that he's been doing the last few years and everything. And, of course, also, for those guys who don't know, he owns Rocksteady Barber, which is located here in Miramichi as well. So great conversation with Wade, great guy, and be sure, guys, to buy some tickets and come on and support this script of his that he wrote, which is actually his very, very first play. Which is very, very interesting. I'm very, very excited to see how this turns out. And I mean, he's done theater before, but this is his first time writing a play, and I think I'm just super excited to see how it turns out. So later in the show, I want to give my thoughts on Liam Neeson, whether he truly is retiring from action movies. He's recently said that, now that he's in his 70s, he's not going to do action movies anymore. Is he really? Is he not? We'll discuss. And is Blade ever going to happen with, of course, Mahershala Ali? It was supposed to happen a long time ago. Is it ever going to happen? Well, we'll discuss that as well, too. But anyways, guys, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I am joined by someone who you guys may recognize, anybody in the Miramichi surrounding areas, the Rocksteady Barber. He is also the writer of the latest Character Matters play Within the Dreary Round, and so that will be, at the time of this recording, it will be this Saturday and Sunday. Saturday will be at the St. James and St. John United Church, and the Sunday show on the 10th will be at the Folklore Park in Renews for a matinee, and super excited to have him on here. Wade Hallihan. Wade, how's it going?
It's going very well, Frankie. Thank you for the warm introduction.
Oh, there. I try.
Yeah,
Make
you've done
sure I
well.
nail every piece of information that we need to hit. And I'm glad that we clarified the show dates, because I was like, yeah, so this Friday and Saturday. You're like, no, it's Saturday and Sunday. So good thing we cleared that up before we started recording.
Yeah,
But
just a minor detail.
yes, exactly. Yeah, plugging the wrong dates. That probably wouldn't be the first time I did that. But thank you for coming on. And I was actually very surprised when so we were kind of going through show notes and stuff like that and what to talk about for the episode, and you had said this is your first play that you ever wrote, which
Yep.
is actually very, very. I was like, wow, I had no idea that was his first play. What inspired you to write this play, and what was the process?
Well, it's a long one, actually. um, it's based on true events, true facts, I guess, from and also kind of inspired by a poem written on the events by the poet of Renews, Michael Whalen. Poem, song, as he was very known for writing his works based on the air, they would say, of a certain song. Like, for example, the Dungarvan Hooper poem, which is like 95 stanzas or whatever, and in this the song "The Silvery Colorado Sweeps Along." So the Ballad of Leslie Allen is based on a song called Barbara Allen. So it's the tune of the song. And ironically, it's a very short poem that Michael Whalen wrote, and he wrote it in 1928. The events took place in 1927. I'm unsure at this moment the exact date of Whalen's death, but we kind of think that this might have been one of his later last works. So the plot, or the actual story, is set just outside of Blackville, which is where I'm from originally. And I had ancestors who were part of the event, which I should back up and say that Leslie Allen was a manager of the Eaton's department store in Moncton. And he came up to Blackville in the fall of 1927 and got lost in the woods. Now, the way that the poem goes is that he was never found. But in real life, he was found the next spring in 1928. I don't want to give a lot of it away, but
Spoiler alert for anybody
spoiler,
planning to
yeah.
watch the show.
So that was, I guess, the inspiration, that and the fact that, I had my great grandfather and one of his brothers were part of the search party. and the headquarters of the search party were set up on my ancestors' estate. So my grandmother was a Burke, and my great grandfather Pat Burke and his brother John were part of the search. So it's been a story that I've heard a lot about over my years, and it's just Sean McCarthy and I kind of just started talking about it, and he was, Sean's very, well versed in all local history, and I just took a stab at writing a play, and this was like, 5 or 6 years ago at least. So I got it done. I sent it off to Sean, and he liked the idea. So he and I both kind of collectively started doing a lot more research. So I was working with the city in tourism, and Sean and I actually attended a trade show in Boston, just outside of Boston in Foxborough. So during the course of a 9-hour drive there and back, we just bounced off a lot of ideas. And I had spent some time at the Chatham Library trying to find some information on the case. And lo and behold, after about an hour and a half searching one night, I came across some newspaper articles. So, it kind of gave us a little bit more of a timeline to work on. And then Sean took it a step further. On our way back, we stopped at the archives in Fredericton. And within 20 minutes, he had like day by day accounts, like the ones that were in probably, I don't know if it was called the North Shore Leader then or whatever, but like there was just some small pieces, Frank, of as it was unfolding, right?
Right.
But when we dove into this, we had names of people that came with him. He didn't come to Blackville alone. And I should also mention he took up the services of a local guide here. His name was Jim Kennedy from the Blackville area. And so there was he, and then he had a couple of coworkers come with him. One guy actually bought his son with him. So the story is how it unfolded is that when they got to the camp in Black Brook, which is about probably 6 or 7 miles outside of Blackville, they decided to go just scout the area a bit before the next day's hunting excursion. And Leslie Allen decided to stay back and have supper prepared for the guys. But he did mention, and this is all documented, that he may go take a scoot around the lake, which would be North Lake. And, so if I'm not here when you come back, that's kind of what's going on. So that's what happened. They come back, supper's cooked, no sign of Leslie. They figure he comes back in the night, wake up the next day, he's not around. They spend about a day, with limited resources and a couple of guys. Then they got to get out to the village and get word. And it just snowballed from there.
Wow. Is there ever
Yeah.
like when you're writing a play based on true events, is there always a level of maybe skepticism or like feelings of I want to make sure I do the story justice? Because it's different when you're writing a story
Oh,
based
of course.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Like
Yeah.
if you're writing a story with characters that you just created, there's no pressure or anything on you about, okay, this is my story. I can this happened, this happened. I basically create the history, but when you're writing something that is based on true events, what was the level of maybe not skepticism, but the level of pressure, what that was like as the writing process went on?
Well, to be honest, Frank, it was so, it took a bit of time to, like I said, to do the digging, but it was pretty much all laid out, and we had to kind of knit the story together, if that's the right word, like, because obviously, you know, uh, Mr. Allen leaves Moncton, so there's an element there where he's kind of saying goodbye to the family. Then he arrives in Blackville, and then he, meets up with his guide, and then so it all kind of, but adding the true ending was it's something that I guess again, not to spoil it, but
I'm
it's,
not going to watch the
it's kind
play if
of
you spoil it for me.
yeah, exactly. No, it's, I, with Sean's expertise too, we were able to, getting back to your comment on leaving things out or whatever, you're quite experienced on the stage as well. And I did a lot of work with Sean and Tom Daly years ago. We were all part of the Dungarvan Hooper play with the Heritage Players, which I signed up for one performance, and it turned into 17 or 18. Like, that thing took on a life of its own.
That blew
No
right
pun
up.
intended. But yeah. So I've known the boys for quite a while, and you know, Sean, we we had many conversations. We all did over the years about, it is a challenge with a huge cast to try to get the dedication for one, and the passion that everyone, the shared passion, I guess, and that so that you don't drive, a half hour to practice and like three people didn't show up, that kind of thing, right? And we went through that a lot. So Sean was able to kind of chisel it down without harming any continuity with the story to a small cast. So I think there's 7 altogether, including he and myself.
Oh, okay, right on. And is this your first time in so the Dungarvan Hooper one, that was how many years ago now? Did you guys do
Oh
that? That
goodness,
was a while
quite a
ago,
while
yeah.
ago. Yeah, I
So,
I dabbled a bit in a lot of local theater. I mean, all through high school. You do the high school drama stuff, but probably one of my proudest moments was playing uh, Dry Fly Ramsey and The Americans Are Coming. We did that probably close to 20 years ago up in Blackville, and that was a huge hit. And having Herb Curtis in the audience and coming up and telling us it was the best one that he's seen of all the productions of his, he wrote that play, right? That book, the trilogy, I guess. And yeah, it was a proud moment. And then I kind of, just got away from stuff. I do a lot of things. I'm just not really good at anything in particular.
you're like, I just stay home. That's all I do.
Yeah. But
But
you know what I mean? Like I dabble in a I should put my focus into one thing, maybe, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
don't put all your eggs in one basket. But I mean, you got a lot of. Well, it's funny when we were talking, and you had mentioned that you also write music. I'm like, wow, you're multi-talented, and you're like, you lost me at talent.
Yeah. Well, I think, I struggled all through high school. I was never the very astute, I really did struggle a lot because high school was different back in those days. I look now and they're doing these outdoor pursuits and all this. And Terry Whalen has a music writing class. I'm like, where was all this stuff in 1990? I probably would have spent more time in school. But I always seem to have a little bit of a creative flair, I guess. But it was kind of always hidden too, right? Because you really weren't encouraged back in those days, or maybe it was just my personality. Too scared somebody might make fun of you or something. If you wrote a song or something. And I so encourage. There's a lot of young people, in particular, up from my hometown. Like there's Amber Walls and Amelia Underhill, and like they've been playing live original music now for quite some time, and I've been honored to share the stage with them. And I always tell them, like, don't stop. And if I had a wrote and had the courage, I guess, to write original music when I was their age, where I'd be now. I just, the songs I wrote back in those days were like, you kind of thought you were Weird Al. You take a parody, some popular song, and turn it all inside out. But in 2015, I kind of, after playing in bands and stuff for a very long time, I just decided I was all done with, the 3:30 in the morning and the same songs, the same people, the same venues. And going back to Terry Whalen, Terry invited me to do an episode of Miramichi Songwriters. And I remember he just pushed me, and I said, I said, I've got a few songs under my hat, but I said, I'll probably have to end up writing one to have enough material to do the show. And that's kind of where it started. It just took off. I know we're all way off on a whole different topic right now, but yeah, so I released an EP in 2019 of original music, and I've been, you know, filling the hopper with song ideas and some songs that are finished ever since. And just again, it's one of those dabbling in everything and time and money, right? So I don't expect to hit Broadway with any theatrical productions that I've written, but it's pretty cool. And I think this one just has such a a bit of a personal connection to it as well. And I think that's and the boys will call a spade, and that's what I want them to. And they're pretty excited about the play as well. And it's one of those other ones too, where they've done such a good job of preserving and promoting local history, and it's not an easy sell,
No,
because
exactly. And keeping it fresh too. You know what I mean? Like I always told them that where when they're doing like Headless Nun and stuff like that, and it's like one story, but they find ways to make it like it's your
yeah,
first time
exactly,
seeing it, like that's
yeah,
I think the best part that they've done with Character Matters is just
yeah,
how fresh the ideas are on a certain topic. No matter how many times you've seen it, it still feels so original, it still feels so
yeah. No,
fresh.
no. I mean, they're top notch professionals. There's no denying it. And it's funny. Sean was in the shop yesterday, and we were chatting about. I said like one time, there would be a play or a production or an event by something, and then there'd be this huge gap, like 6 months, and then they're doing another thing. What they've been doing lately, like they've had a super busy summer and
Oh,
fall, you know what I mean?
unreal.
Like, like back to Sean being at the shop, he came in a few weeks ago and he said, I need 3 haircuts. So, because he
Three
wanted to
hair
be well, he wanted to be Peter Mitchell. Then he needed to shave it a different way yesterday for a thing that I think he and Tom are doing in Albert County, maybe on the weekend. And then he wants it back to a different cut again for our play. So he's very dedicated, and that just speaks to how busy they are, And then I helped them out with the haunted horror at the Man's there. That was a good time at the
Oh,
Beaverbrook House.
Beaverbrook House. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Did you go?
No, I couldn't make it this
No.
year. My best friend got married that weekend, and I was like,
Okay.
"Oh crap!" I'm like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Do I skip the wedding and go to the show?" I was like, "Oh no!" I said,
Yeah.
"Your best friend only gets
So that
married
was
once."
yeah.
But
Oh yeah. No,
I went
priorities, man.
I went the year before because actually the year before that I was like, oh yeah, I'll wait. I was procrastinating to get tickets, and
Yeah.
then I found out like last minute they're like, oh yeah, they're all sold out. I said, oh crap. So the next year I made sure to buy my tickets like way in
Yeah. Oh,
advance
good. Yeah. I
because
try to support them when I can. Like I've been to a few things, and it's they keep beating that drum, and it's starting to take off, and that's what we need. Like and getting back to the Dungarvan Hooper, I mean that's probably not tooting my horn because I'm a Miramicheer, but it's probably the most popular folklore ghost story in the province. You can go almost anywhere in New Brunswick and mention the Dungarvan Hooper, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a ghost, isn't it?" It's like that in the Phantom Ship up in the Bay Chaleur. So trying to work on these, like the Peter Mitchells and the and the Leslie Allen for that matter. I mean, there's a lot of people where I grow up that don't have a clue about this. So we're really thanks to you again too for this promotion, but we've been trying to get that out there as much as we can. The guys, they've done radio ads. We got some really nice visual posters done up. Dave Jardine did a wonderful job with that. He did a little bit of a trailer that was shared last week, and we posted that. And you're in this business. We're a walk up town. It's like if the show starts at 7 o'clock, there'll be people looking to buy tickets at 6:53, wondering if there's any left. Don't dare buy them ahead.
no, exactly. But then I always find that's nice whenever you almost encourage people to try and buy them ahead of time because you want to make sure that we have enough. First off, make sure that we know that there's at least going to be one person out there,
Oh,
because
of
you don't want
course,
to,
yes,
yeah, like
yes,
that's definitely the one thing. And but then it's always a pleasant surprise when you show up to Showtime, you're like, okay, maybe someone reserved 10
Yeah.
tickets, and the next thing you know, there's a bunch more people coming. Like, okay, that's good. That's what you want. And I think that's every artist,
Oh, of course.
every artist's worst fear. Like, is anybody gonna come? Obviously, there will be people, but you're like, how many people? And
Yeah. I always said the best testimonial of any show or production, be it music or whatever, is two words: sold out. And I
always.
always, anytime I done anything with, like, I kind of, with outside of theater, I've actually organized and hosted quite a few like shows, like a lot of songwriter circles and that kind of thing, and bought people in from outside, and then we got together and, kind of, I don't know if you're familiar how a songwriter circle works, but I always, always, always try to sell advance tickets. And, you can kind of, you know, tell a little white lie or whatever and say, there's only, you only have this much time and they're gone, they're going fast. And if, there's only 5 left, when there's really 25 left or whatever. But, you gotta, it's a lot of work, and I commend them for their success. And
Oh, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think I think they're on a roll.
The Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corkin Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corkin Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting.
And I'm really happy that this play is, on their roster. And Sean approached me probably last fall or early this spring and said, wait, I'd like to revisit the idea of Leslie Allen again. And I said, Sean, you take it, man. Take it and do whatever you can with it, because it's just going to be shelved otherwise. And, while at the time I was writing it, and he and I kind of went back and forth, I was almost ready to just, make a few phone calls, get a bunch of people and try to take it to the stage right then, and that just fizzled away. And then, with, I had some serious health issues, and then I, some job switching and new career and all that stuff. So that's why, you don't just, there's only a couple of people on the river that you would want to take something that you worked on, and if it was a play, and bring it to the stage. And that's Sean McCarthy and Tom Daly. There's just no other, if they had said no, we wouldn't be having this podcast right now.
Yes, exactly. I'd be talking to somebody else.
No, it just wouldn't. It would have been just a little project I would have found in a Rubbermaid bin, 10
No,
years from now.
exactly.
Say,
So when you
oh boy,
wrote
it's
it,
too bad we could have got that to the stage,
yes, exactly. And then like years later, we're like, oh, can you imagine what that would have looked like, But
Yeah.
when you wrote it, you said 5-6 years ago. Did you write it with the intention of I would like to produce this someday, or you wrote it with the intention of just maybe just to kind of write for fun?
No,
Like how
at
did
the
you?
time I was pretty deep into it. Like I really wanted to see it happen. I kind of pictured myself as a director, but then that probably would have went real sideways, because I'd have been too, no, you're not doing it right, So I just decided, for the sake of saving some friendships, I said that's probably not a good idea for me to be. I'm not a perfectionist, I don't think, but just kind of, yeah. It's that's the thing about, I guess I shouldn't say, and I'm not talking from experience, but for a director to bring, you know, somebody else's vision to life must be a tall order, you know, because that was the thing. If I was, I would be watching the people on stage, and I'd have the whole play going on in my head, you know, and I don't know. Sean and I never even really talked about that. So anyway, and then kind of in a last, not really a last ditch effort, but as he was filling up the cast, I told him, I said, look, I won't see you stuck, kind of thing, you know. So there was one role in particular that I kind of had in mind, as did Sean. And anyway, I ended up taking that on.
Oh,
So
awesome. Well, there you go. So
yeah.
so back to the stage after, a little bit of a hiatus since Dungarvan Hooper. Was there a bit of trepidation going back to it, or?
Well, you know what? Sean and I spoke about this a few weeks ago. I was having I'm not one, I don't have any stage fright. Never did. I don't know. But I don't know if it was foreshadowing or what. I was looking ahead, and I was just struggling with the fact that I thought I wasn't going to be able to pull it off. And I
Hmm.
don't have a very big part, but I wasn't spending enough time rehearsing on my own either, maybe, you know. And then the last few practices, like rather than just break it up into scenes, we've been running it right through, and I feel 10 times better now.
Well, that's
So
good though.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
especially when you wrote it too. Like, there's always,
Yeah.
I want to see my vision pay off, and I want to see, what do they call it, the fruits of our labor. I want to see it pay
Yeah.
off. So then you're always just in the back of your mind, and I think every artist, everybody will do that, where their mind's going in 10 different directions of what if this
Oh
goes
yeah.
wrong, what if that goes wrong, and to me, I'm like, if you're not thinking that, then I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but the fact that you do show that shows just how much this means to you, especially where, in this case, you wrote the play too. So you want to
Yeah.
see it. There's a party that wants to see your vision come to
Oh,
life,
of course. And it's a little different than the original that I, drafted up. Not much. I mean, it's nothing's left out far as the key elements, but it's just it's a little more compressed, I guess. And like I said, smaller cast, which is by far, the best thing that probably ever could happen.
No, exactly. It gives you time to really delve into it because if you're doing a cast with like 30 some people, sometimes it's hard because, especially with everyone's schedules, it's trying to line
Yeah,
those up.
exactly.
And then also, you want to take the time to really delve into their characters and make sure that everybody makes their own, like, their own interpretations of the character, really have time to breathe life into it. And when you got a big
Well,
group of
and
people in a small amount of time, it's hard.
and plus, like, I told them, I think while everyone was there, I said, like, they did a fantastic job in the casting, like the people that are playing the roles, and just the dedication that everybody's bringing. It's that sets it apart too. Because we have one individual that has it's a key role, but it's at the end, and it's just this one scene, and you know he's been coming for the most part and sitting through the whole practices. You know what I mean? So there's that level of dedication is there, and I mean, and Tom's Tom's really bringing his A game to this one.
No, exactly. And he always does. I mean, they
Yeah,
always
oh yeah,
they always do, and it's always inspiring too, I think, for a lot of like people who want to pursue the arts or people who want to do this kind of
yeah.
stuff. I think watching people do it, it just makes you want to it makes you better. You know what I mean? It makes you
Oh yeah,
better
of course.
seeing
Yeah.
seeing people like that do it. And
Well,
so
yeah,
I'm yeah.
you're surrounded by professionals, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so Rocksteady Barber, of course, that's your main gig. How does your day job kind of balance out the artistic side of things, where now you're a playwright, and well, before you were also a songwriter and stuff like that. How does that kind of influence your creative side?
I've never really sit down. That's a good question, Frank. I, if you see my high school graduation picture, you'd never believe that I was going to be a barber, but and I enjoy it immensely. I'm a bit of a talker and a people person. Um, when my first location in Blackville, I had a little more time on my hands because I wasn't quite as busy, and I would find myself, picking up the guitar or whatever. But I don't know how the business is really in. I don't think it did anything negative, but I don't drop my scissors in the middle of a haircut and grab a pen and paper and start writing stuff down. If that's what you're, you know,
That's what.
I do get inspired in some really weird places. Like I spend a lot this like the next few weeks. Deer season comes, and I spend a lot of time in the woods alone, and I get a lot of thoughts creep into my mind in those times. And I made a promise to myself that I was going to take a notebook this year and write some stuff out so I don't forget it.
No, exactly, because that's the worst when you get a great idea and go, okay, I'll jot that down later, and then later
Never does. And then
yeah, it
and then
never
it
does.
just it's gone. And I've done that too many times. You're driving along and you hear just two words on a radio of either a commercial or another song or an interview, and it's like they're like that's it. That's too that's a good theme, whatever and then you beat yourself up trying to remember it. Oh,
No,
I've
that's
I've
always the
had
worst. The writer's block. How do you deal with the writer's block? I love talking about this with people, especially, I mean, because it's so accurate every time.
oh yeah, yeah.
People who say I don't get writer's block, it's like, I think you get it to a certain degree. How if you get it, how do you deal with it?
I don't. Well, it's kind of a weird process for me because again, I think it's back to having my hands into too many things. I'll take a real uh, dedicated and just say to myself, okay, Saturday morning, I'm going to go lock myself in a room and just concentrate on writing. Right. So I usually I kind of usually prepare for the writing blocks, I guess. When I sit down and I'm actually going to dedicate my time to writing a song or whatever, it's pretty much a done deal. But then I guess my blocks are when I spend 2 or 3 months and never look at anything again like that. But I've never, maybe it's because I don't do it enough. Like I've never been pacing the floor or trying to come up with that final piece, and then maybe your mind going way off into something else. I don't know. I think everybody's different creatively, and you always get that question, where were you when you wrote, or where did this idea come from? And man, it's never anything consistent. You know, I'm mowing the lawn, sitting on the ride-on tractor, and I get these ideas, or I'm splitting firewood, or I'm fishing or whatever. It's really weird. I kind of had I make a joke about this one. Apparently Keith Richards wrote Satisfaction in his sleep. So
Oh
he
wait,
woke up. Yeah, that's true. He was in a hotel and he just woke up and wrote it. Or there was a guitar there and he come up with that riff or something. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I never get up in the night. I'm one of these guys. I go to bed, I get up. And for some reason, I was having trouble sleeping. And I get up and I looked out my window and there was snow coming down. It was probably about 1 a.m. And just something hit me. And I went back to bed and I laid there for about 20 minutes looking at the ceiling. And I got up, came out to the kitchen table, turned on my laptop and wrote a song
oh wow,
because I had to get it out because
yeah.
everything, the gears were going and I'm like, oh, I love that. That's great. That's great. That's great. Boom. I just got up, and spent about 45 minutes in the middle of the night in the winter in a snowstorm writing a song. It was just crazy.
Well, so what? But then that's all oftentimes when the best ideas come out. You're sitting there for
Oh, of
hours
course.
and then you go do something. Like do you get that at work sometimes? Like you're
Oh,
cutting
yeah,
someone's hair.
yeah,
Okay, sir, hold on a second. I have a phone call and you're actually just writing
yeah.
down.
Well, no, I mean, I'm kind of a rookie in this business, right? But I've daydreamed a lot on other jobs, no question, and trying to get those ideas, written out or typed out, or yeah. I think it's different for everybody. We're a different bunch.
Different breed. We are
you
we are
know,
a different breed. Different
yeah.
breed for
Because I
sure.
remember I remember like I remember being selected out of a class, and I mean a long time ago, like in about grade 4. This one day, the teachers, excuse me, they gathered up about 5 of us, and they took us into this, and they were calling this creative writing, and that's what we would just sit down and write. It was weird. I didn't think nothing of it at the time. It was just I was like, oh, okay, I'm
I'm
getting to
never
get
going
out
to
of
use this
class.
again.
Yeah, well, or why me. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
And then here you are years later and you've written a play which is about to take the
Yeah, yeah,
stage. So
exactly. They must have seen it in me then.
yes,
But I
exactly. That
always
was just
did, like,
foreshadowing.
I've had people tell me that, you know, you should write a book or that kind of thing. And when I went, so before my barber career, when all the mills closed down, I was a victim of that. And I went to community college for 2 years and took a business program. And I was even offered there was an instructor there at the time who was just kind of on a contract, and she worked with Enterprise Miramichi, and she wanted me to go help her write like modules and stuff. So I kind of have like not just a creative good way with words, like I can kind of, you know, put the lay it on thick, I guess, so to speak. I almost said something else there, but you know what I mean. And I'm not. It's just and it. I'm not bragging about it, and it's not. It just comes natural, I guess. I guess that's all I can say. It just seems to, you know. And maybe it's because I suck with everything else, with numbers and everything. So I was always now. I didn't come out of like grade 10 and 11 English with 90% either, but I'm so glad I studied all that Shakespeare, because look at me now.
Yes, exactly. Back then you're like, why am I studying this? What am I going to use this for? I even
Oh,
said that too.
yeah.
I'm like, if you're going off to be a doctor, what do you need Shakespeare for? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Like it's really, it's crazy.
but here
Yeah.
we are now, and it's crazy. Within the jury round is now about to take the stage. So if you were to give like a sales pitch for people listening, why they should come see it, whether you're in the States or wherever, guys, why why should these people come out to see within the jury round this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's an unsolved mystery that finally closes the chapter. It is solved. It's it's a tragic tale. It evokes, there's a lot of emotions there, and it's I don't know. That's a tough one too, Frank. I
Just come see the show.
just come see. No, and like it's also an opportunity for the story to be shared. You know, Here we are. It's close to 100 years since it happened, and I'm hoping that Michael Whalen is out there somewhere.
Hopefully he
you
comes
know,
to the show.
yeah. Well, I'm a distant relative. That's another claim of fame of mine. That's where I get the creative side. I'm not sure.
You're more talented than you give yourself credit for.
My great grandmother was a Whalen, so
Oh, geez. Oh, see, look at
no,
that.
really, there's a connection. I forget it's a ways back, but yeah, he's a relative.
Oh my God, geez, yeah. See, look at that. Is it Whalen, with A-L-E, or is it E-L-A? I thought I saw it was E-L-A. W-H-E-L-A-N Whalen,
Maybe,
or is it A?
yeah.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
I thought I saw
I'm
two
not.
different ways spelled for it, but
Oh,
I
there
could just be
probably is.
yeah.
There's especially those Irish names. They're everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere you look, there's always one,
Yeah.
at least one, but never a
Yeah.
bad thing. Never a bad
And it's
thing.
spelled differently, you know.
Yes, exactly. But Wade, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm super excited for the show
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a
this
pleasure, man.
weekend. It's funny I'm saying this weekend, but that's because we're recording this in advance. It is this weekend, but at the time of this, it's next weekend. But I'm super excited to see it within the Drury round. So it's St. James and St. John United Church Center on Saturday, November 9th at 7 p.m. And then it is at the Miramichi Folklore Park November 10th, which is Sunday, the next day at 2 p.m. So very excited to check it out. Thank you for coming on, Wade. Appreciate it. And
It was my pleasure, sir.
I hate to make you late for work today, but
oh no, I got a few. My boss is pretty easy to get along with.
Oh, okay, that's good. I thought you were your own boss. I thought you ran the Rocksteady Barber.
I do.
You do it? For a second, there you go. I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
I said, wait, that makes no
you
sense.
Missed that one right over your head.
I felt, yeah, that went right over. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah, just so you guys know, yeah, Wade runs Rocksteady Barber. He doesn't work for anybody.
It's a one-man show.
One-man show, exactly. That'll be the next one, Rocksteady Barber, the musical or something.
The musical, yeah.
I won't give you any more ideas.
You can have that one. Let me know when it's done.
only if you can act in it. That's the only way I'll do it.
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll get within the jury round done first.
Yeah, get one out of the way first.
Exactly. So, Wade, thank you so much for coming on and break a leg this weekend, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Sounds good, man.
So, guys, we are going to take a short break. We'll be right back. But until then, this is Frankie and Wade Hallihan signing off. Have a good one, Wade.
You too, pal. Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cork and Entertainment Show. That was me and Wade Hallihan. Wade, thank you for coming on. And guys, be sure to check out Within the Dreary Round, which is November 10th. Also November 10th. But first off, November 9th at 7 p.m. at the St. James and St. John United Church Center. And you can catch it the next day, the 10th, at the Miramichi Folklore Park up in Renews at 2 p.m. So thank you, Wade, for coming on, and I look forward to seeing the show this weekend. So moving on to the solo segments today, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the greatest action stars, or maybe one of the greatest actors, period, Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, I think it's pretty easy to say. I think he's, one of the best. I really do think he is. Is he in like my top 10, my top 5? I don't think I'd put him in there. But he's fantastic nonetheless. Sorry if I'm swallowing, guys. I just had an apple pie, and it's really, really good. Sorry. Like acid reflux and stuff. So yeah, Liam Neeson, he's fantastic. Of course, the Taken movies, people remember him from, but I remember what was one that I saw? It was one that was on a plane. That what was it called again? I can't remember the exact name of it. I should probably look it up because I think it's going to drive me nuts. But he also had one of the best cameos in a film I've ever seen in Ted 2. It was so good. It was so good. His cameo in Ted 2. If you guys haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. I love it. Oh, and of course, Ra's al Ghul. Of course, I can't forget that in Batman Begins, the first Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale one. I can't forget about that. I'm talking about Taken and all this stuff like that, and then I'm like, oh, geez, I can't forget one of his best ones, in my opinion. Great actor. And so right now he's 72, which, doing what he's doing now at his age, I think is really, really good. But it turns out he may be retiring soon from his action films. This is what he had to say. This is an article from People.com. Liam Neeson explains when he'll retire his particular set of skills in action movies. I'm 72, he says. Liam Neeson's resume includes starring roles in some of the biggest films in the past few decades. He was the hero of Steven Spielberg's Best Picture-winning drama Schindler's List, and it kind of goes on about some of his accolades and resume and all that stuff. Sorry, I'm just gonna skim through down here just so I'm not gonna state the obvious and say Liam Neeson's done this and Liam Neeson's done that, but he's done a lot. And so we got here. While Moland, who is the director of Cold Pursuit that was released in 2019, that Liam Neeson was also in, it says Neeson had no trouble with the role's physicality. The actor himself is thinking, while Moland says Neeson had no trouble with the role's physicality, the actor himself is thinking ahead to a day when he won't be able to convincingly throw a punch. I'm 72. It has to stop at some stage, says Neeson, who performs his own fight scenes but leaves the more intricate stunt work to longtime collaborator Mark Vanslow. You can fool the audiences. I don't want Mark to be fighting my scenes for me. He's eyeing an exit sometime in 2025, but hasn't fully committed. Maybe by the end of next year. I think that's it, he says. And so it says Neeson could certainly have a third act as a comedy star. He recently wrapped filming a reboot of the Leslie Nielsen police comedy, The Naked Gun. He plays the hapless cop Frank Drebin Jr. in a new story with Pamela Anderson co-starring as femme fatale. And then they talk a little bit about just some of the stuff that's his new movie Absolution is out November 1st. And so, yeah. So, Liam Neeson, maybe by the end of next year, he says, or maybe he's going to call it quits. Now, the reason why I wanted to focus on this as a topic is because it's always a question. Like, actors will say, hey, I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to move on. I think I'm ready to retire and all that. And sometimes you take it with a grain of salt. I mean, how many times has Anthony Hopkins said he's going to retire and he's well in his 90s and he's still going, you know? Michael Caine just recently retired. Well, not recently. He retired, I think, last year. And he's 90. And so I think he may have talked about it before he ended up actually retiring. But actors will say it all the time, nonetheless. They say that they will retire multiple times. It should be noted, though, that Liam Neeson's not talking about retiring. He's just talking about retiring from action movies, which that's a lot of work, though. It is a lot of work, and when you're his age and you've done so much and now you're getting older, I think then that's why, for me, I believe him. I think he's done with action movies. Now, will he appear in action movies? I think he'll absolutely continue to appear in action films. Like maybe he'll appear as a villain that sits around and, you know, makes jokes and stuff like that. I think maybe he'll do that. But as for him being the main protagonist of it, I think I do believe him when he says that. There's lots of actors, as I said, who will say that, and then next thing you know, boom, they're doing 10 different things. Like Hugh Jackman has said that one of the reasons why he stopped playing Wolverine after Logan was because he's older, and and he was going into his 50s at the time, and he's just like, I don't want to keep on living my life like this anymore with the crazy workout routines and the crazy dieting and all that stuff, and especially for someone his age. Not that he still can't do it, but for him, it got to a point where he's like, I just don't want to do it anymore. Like, I don't want to live my life like this anymore. And luckily, they were able to talk him into coming back as Wolverine in Deadpool 3, which was great. Now, Liam Neeson could be an exception. Like, maybe he says he's going to retire from action films, and then in 5 years, he's doing another action film. But you look at someone like Harrison Ford, he's up in his 80s, and he's still doing these big types of movies and stuff like that. But everyone's different. I always hate that whenever people will compare themselves to others in the sense that, oh, he's retiring now. Oh, come on. Like, look at what so-and-so did. Look what so-and-so did. But you're not that person. You're not the one who's you're not in the trenches working all these hours and stuff like that and doing these insanely physically demanding stunts. It's a lot. It takes a huge toll on your physical health. And at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself. So do I think Liam Neeson is is actually sincere when he says that, because that was really the main thing that I want to talk about. I do think he's done. I do think he's done, and at least from the big action films, like we're not going to see a Taken 4. We're not going to see, anything like that. But we will, of course, continue. I think he would do great if he focused just on comedy, because he was great in, say what you want about A Million Ways to Die in the West. He, of course, played the villain in A Million Ways to Die in the West, and I thought he was great in that movie. So I love to see him do a lot more of that, maybe like action comedy, but he's not at the forefront of all the action. Just anything that he wants to do, we will all watch it. That's a given, right? Like anything Liam Neeson does, everyone will support him nonstop. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to just talk about that. Every time an actor or anybody in the business says, I think I'm done, I'll always talk about it and say, I don't think they are. I don't think them. But in this case, I do think he's done, unfortunately. But he's had a great run with action films, and I'm excited to see him pop up in other films. But as for being the forefront, center of attention in all these action movies, doing his own, or like, doing his fighting and stuff like that, you can't do that when you're 80, unless you're, I don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford, I think, still does a little bit of that, but not everyone's going to be like Harrison Ford, you know what I mean? And you don't want to work yourself to death, because you're no good if you're dead, right? That's what it all comes down to. But be sure, guys, to let me know what you guys think about that. Is Liam Neeson really done with action films? I say yes. He says yes, but what do you guys say? Be sure to let me know what you guys think on social media. And so our last discussion topic today is a little movie that was supposed to happen a long time ago, or actually maybe not like a long time ago, but it was announced probably pre-COVID. And that was, of course, the Mahershala Ali Blade movie, which has been delayed over and over and over and over again. And now it's just a question of, are we going to see this damn movie? Now, it's kind of crazy to think that we haven't seen this, because I don't know. I just think Blade is the first movie's great. It is really, really good. I do like the first movie a lot. Some people might not like it, but I think over a certain time it gained a pretty good cult following. And then, of course, we got him back in Deadpool Wolverine, which was a big surprise. I did not expect to see him in that. That was the last. He was the last person. I mean, maybe we could have saw Mahershala Ali in there, but we got Wesley Snipes, and I'm like, wow, that's insane. And so I kind of wanted to just go through the history of this, because it just recently got delayed again. Of course, the Blade reboot with Mahershala Ali, and I think Mahershala Ali is a terrific actor. I know some people were talking about how pissed they were that it wasn't going to be Wesley Snipes, but at a certain point, you can't cast everybody again in those movies. It's difficult, I know. So that's why I think over time people kind of grew to accept it. So anyways, with regards to Blade and whether we're going to see this film, I'm kind of just going to go through and, maybe just go through a little timeline. So this is on comicbook.com. Blade, it says Blade canceled. It's a timeline of Marvel's most delayed movie. Whether it's canceled or not, that's a question. So on July 23rd, 2011, Marvel regained the Blade movie rights. At San Diego Comic-Con in 2011, Marvel's chief creative officer Joe Quesada confirmed the company regained the rights to Blade and Punisher. May 2nd, 2013, Kevin Feige confirms Blade is back at Marvel Studios. And this is back when Iron Man 3 launched, it says, which is, wow, that's when it was. June 26, 2017, Kevin Feige teases bringing to Blade into the MCU someday. July 20th, 2019, Marvel Studios announces Blade reboot with Mahershala Ali starring, and which may have sparked a little bit of controversy because people wanted Wesley Snipes, but Mahershala Ali is a terrific actor. Like, Luke Cage is that's he's freaking terrific. He was terrific as Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. October 1st, 2020, Mahershala Ali reveals that Blade was being developed as a TV series. And which I might have preferred that, but I don't know. It's that's kind of a tricky subject because both would be fantastic. But October 23rd, 2020, Marvel is looking for writers. February 5th, 2021, Marvel hires Stacey Osai Kufor, I think the name is, to write Blade. May 5th, 2021, Blade filming date is pushed back for the first time. And it says it was planned for September, shooting start to July 2022 to give more time to work on the script. In July 19th, 2021, Marvel hires Basim Tariq to direct. September 1st, Tariq reveals first details about the script. November 5th, 2021, Blade sinks his teeth into the MCU as a voiceover in Eternals. November 30th, Eternals producer reveals cut Blade cameo. November 19th, 2021, Blade casts Delroy Lindo. January 7th, 2022, Blade character descriptions leak online. A lot of other stuff. Okay, so here's the more prominent one. Marvel dates Blade for 2023. This is in July 2022. And then October 11th, 2022, Marvel announces new Blade release date from November 3rd, 2023 to September 6th, 2024. So if they went according to that schedule, we would have seen Blade already. So a bunch more and then of course May 2023, the writer's strike. And then this right here, and then and then I'm sorry, I'm just skimming through. All right, here we go. Now up to present date. October 22nd, 2024, Disney pulls Blade from its release schedule. On October 22nd, Disney removed Blade from its release schedule and dated 3 untitled Marvel Studio movies for 2028. And Blade's nowhere in there. And do I think it's going to happen at this point? I mean, I think maybe. Here's I'm real unsure at this point, really. If I had to put bet money on it, do I think we'll see Blade? I'd put $50 in saying that it's not going to happen. It's been in development hell for so long. This is like Ghostbusters 3. That was in development hell for a long time. It was literally the development of Ghostbusters 3 turned into a full-on comedy where it was like Bill Murray says, "I'm in it. No, I'm not. I'm in it. No, I'm not." And it just got so stupid. It's just like, oh my God. It was just, that would have been a better movie than what Ghostbusters 3 would have been. So yeah, do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think so. Maybe I'll go 78%. I'll say 78% because I still think that there's some chances of it still happening, but I don't know. I just think at this point I'll believe it when they're on set. That's the way I see it, is when we see Mahershala Ali on set as Blade, then I'll believe it. Hell, it's even more likely that we'll see Wesley Snipes come back again as Blade before we see this movie. Maybe they'll just scrap it and just have Wesley Snipes come back. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyways, I'm really curious to see what everyone thinks on that. That was kind of a long topic that just ended up leading me to saying no. But God, when it's delayed that much, at some point you just got to cut your losses and just say it's not going to happen. Not that it couldn't, but I don't think it will. I think movies have been in development hell for much longer than Blade has been. But yeah, Mahershala Ali, he's a terrific actor, and I think he deserves to do more than just wait around for this Blade movie. But we'll see what happens. I'm not Mahershala Ali. I like money, so I would probably stick around as, you know what I mean? As long as it did end up happening and you pick up work and stuff here and there to just live, then it is what it is. But be sure, guys, to let me know your thoughts on that. And we're going to call it for the show there today, guys. I want to thank my guest, Wade Hallihan, for coming on to promote Within the Dreary Round. Be sure to check it out this weekend, guys. Get your tickets for Humbug, which is next Friday night we open. And for this Sunday's Remembrance Day dinner, hosted by John Bosma and Susan Butler at the Kin Center. Very much looking forward to it. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and just being supportive all these episodes later. I'm really, really excited. to keep on doing it. And yeah, so I don't know where I'm going with that. I was kind of just rambling at that point. But thank you very much, guys. We will see you next week. Until then, this is Frankie signing off. Have a great week, everybody.